Hey man, Shay man, it's your boy DAALIGHT man, Daylight TV, back at y'all with some news you could use or not. Uh Hit that like and subscribe button, smash that notification bell if you're really mobbing with the content. Daylight TV. Let's get into it. So, uh first stop, first story we'll be covering takes us to Philadelphia. Um Tragic situation. A medical airplane or a jet carrying 6 passengers crashed in Philly after leaving a medical facility. One of the passengers was a pediatric patient. Um, so, off the bat, condolences to the victims and, the family and all that. And we're gonna get into the news clip or whatever right now, man. You know what I'm saying? Pull this up.
Up first tonight, breaking news in Philadelphia, where a small medical jet crashed into a residential and retail area.
The FAA telling us 6 people were on board, including 4 crew members and a pediatric patient and the girl's mother. The crash and explosion causing several cars and buildings to catch fire. Maria Aguilera following the latest developments in the newsroom tonight.
Maria, we understand there are several videos that captured this crash.
Yeah, Len and Mia, this is an all-hands-on-deck situation in Philadelphia as rescue crews respond to the crash, the fires, and try to figure out exactly how many victims they might have. Now, first, let's give you some perspective on where this happened. Now, the FAA says the medevac jet had taken off from Northeast Philadelphia Airport, as you can see here, and it crashed less than a minute later, 3 miles away in a neighborhood along a busy roadway right next to Roosevelt Mall. And as you mentioned, several surveillance cameras captured the crash, but we should warn you, the videos are shocking.
Shocking door cam video captures a massive explosion after a small medical jet carrying 6 people crashed in Philadelphia. Another video from a different angle shows something
are shocking.
I have to look at that again. Oh.
Shocking door cam video captures a massive explosion after a small medical jet carrying 6 people crashed in Philadelphia. Another video from a different angle shows something went wrong as the jet took a nosedive. According to the AP, all 6 people aboard were from Mexico, a child patient, her mother, and 4 crew members. The company could not confirm any survivors. The child had been treated in Philadelphia for a life-threatening condition, and she was being transported home to Mexico, according to Shy Gold, Jet Rescue Air Ambulance spokesperson. The flight's final destination was Tijuana after a stop in Missouri. The plane, a Learjet 55, was leaving the Northeast Philadelphia airport when tragedy struck. The plane crashed into a neighborhood outside the Roosevelt Mall just moments after leaving the airstrip at around 6:07 p.m. Eastern, engulfing several homes and damaging vehicles.
This is a developing situation. At this time, the Federal Aviation Administration, or the FAA, and the National Transportation Safety Board, known as NTSB, are investigating the crash. The NTSB will lead the investigation. Back to you.
That is really something. Thank you, Maria. Tonight.
All right. So, yeah, man, once again, rest in peace to the victim, condolences to the families. That's crazy, man. Like, for a child to have to go through fighting a life-threatening disease is, rough enough, you know what I mean? And, unfair, in the eyes of a perfect world. But to get the treatment, to save your life and then to lose your life like that on the way home. But it's just like, when they say this can't be life, it's just kind of wild. Not to kind of speculate, but it was saying that they came all the way from Mexico. And you know, life-saving procedures aren't cheap, and neither private flights, you know, from Mexico, from Tijuana all the way to Philly. You know what I mean? So it makes me wonder who this person is. Like, are they a wealthy family? Was this like a charity thing? You know what I mean? Like some philanthropy, or what? Like, you know what I mean? And if it is some, you know, like well-to-do Mexicans or whatever, you know, I'm just wondering like who they are and like, you know what I'm saying, like what their, you know, what their occupation is. And hopefully this ain't, you know, no foul play. You get what I'm saying? I don't want to assume or whatever that people might be involved in that underworld thing, but you know, it does make you wonder. You know what I mean? But again, rest in peace. You know, we just had another tragedy in the sky with American airline flight crashing into a military helicopter, and you know, nobody survived that. You know what I mean? So like that shit was tragic. And I seen somebody when both of these stories started to go viral. Someone put a post up by Elon Musk saying that it would take like a plane crash to stop these DEI hires, and I'm just like, how many pilots are getting hired on a DEI? Like, you know what I'm saying? So that shit don't even add up. But you know, anytime like something like this happens back to back or whatever, and then you know when you have all these other factors, you know, playing in, people are gonna, you know, do their speculation and, you know, so on and so forth. So that shit is just to be expected, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like, but speaking of DEI, on super national news, you got Trump recently signing a new executive order and revoking the executive order signed by Lyndon B. Johnson, you know, famously known as the Civil Rights Bill of 1965. We're gonna get into a clip, you know, discussing this. They got an attorney. This is from Fox News, and yeah, we're gonna get into it, and then I'm gonna break it down. Let's go.
We're joined now by DEI labor attorney Jason Schwartz. Mr. Schwartz, thanks so much for joining us. First, just want to ask your initial reaction to the scope of the executive order and the employees placed on leave.
Sure. So nice to be with you. The scope of this order is huge. Really dramatic change, not only for government contractors, but for all private sector corporations.
And Trump notably revoked the executive order signed by LBJ back in 1965, which prohibited discriminatory practices in employment decisions for federal contractors. What sort of immediate impact could we start to see?
So the president, as you said, revoked the 1965 executive order from President Johnson and has flipped the requirements so that government contractors now have to agree not to engage in any sort of DEI program that has a preference based on race or gender. So not only do they get rid of their affirmative action programs, but they have to agree not to engage in certain DEI practices. That's a complete reversal. The OFCCP is now ordered to immediately cease its enforcement efforts under the 1965 Civil Rights Program, and instead, contractors agree again that they cannot engage in any kind of preferential DEI programs. And the order suggests that that will be enforced not just by the federal government, but that private citizens are going to be deputized to bring what are called False Claims Act actions in order to enforce that government contractor requirement.
Now, the White House said that the executive order demands departments and agencies take strong action to end DEI policies in the private sector as well, and that the Attorney General should also encourage the end of DEI in the private sector. What could those actions look like?
So, Lindsay, the most dramatic thing about that is the president literally asked the heads of every federal agency to provide a list of 9 targets against whom they will initiate investigations and potential litigation to challenge private sector diversity programs that they believe are unlawful. So each agency is going to be on the hunt for, and it's the mission is find the biggest whales you can. The executive order says look for large publicly traded corporations, large employers, large foundations, and send these lists to the White House so that the agencies can initiate investigations and litigation. I think that's going to be a substantial enforcement effort in the private sector, challenging lots of DEI programs at many, many companies.
Leading up to Trump's second term, we saw a number of large corporations begin to roll back their DEI policies. Do you think that more companies will continue to follow suit?
Very much so. No one wants to be on this list of 9 companies. So I think part of the intended effect of this order is not only to find big companies to make an example of, but to scare everybody else into rolling back their programs.
Okay. All right. Well, we thank you so much, Mr. Schwartz. Really appreciate you.
All right. So here's what I take away from this, right? So with the 1965 bill, I didn't finish reading that in its entirety, nor have I read, the new executive order in its entirety, right? But from what I have gathered, they pretty much used the bill of 1965 as like a foundation for the new executive order. The thing that is different is that over time, lawmakers, I guess, felt like the DEI was meant to not, discriminate. But when you sit here and you start selecting people based on them being, part of a minority or a subgroup, it's you kind of like tread the lines of, discrimination. You get what I mean? Because now you have organizations that might be like, all right, it might be 2 candidates, right? And let's just say it's a Black and Hispanic. And maybe like the Black dude or the Hispanic dude had like more skill, they're more qualified for the position. But because there's, the company might be afraid of being, accused of discriminating, against the Hispanic guy because of all the stuff going on with the migrants, they just hired the Hispanic guy, even though the Black guy was more like, fit for the job. Because now it's like diversity and equality and all this stuff. Like the diversity is a hell of a lot, more broader than it was back in 1965 when it was just black and white. You know what I'm saying? Like, is deeper than black and white. It's a lot of gray areas. It's a lot of yellow. It's a lot of brown. This shit. It's rainbows now. You know what I mean? So I think or whatever that's the thing or whatever that, you know, now it's just you can't sit here and just give somebody like a position because, or at least you don't have to worry about somebody saying that, oh, like, you know, you didn't pick me because I'm this or I'm that. Now, what's interesting or where I feel like it'll be beneficial to the masses is if they leverage that into, I guess you say, a class-based thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, or they, like, say contracts are given to people who may not meet a certain financial requirement. Like, they might say you have to do a certain amount of business to qualify for, you know, this type of business loan or something. Like a lot of the companies that get bailouts, you know what I mean? Like, or don't get bailouts rather, are usually because they don't fit some major like requirement or whatever that usually only apply to big companies, right? So if that leverage is out, then that's good for the small businesses because, you know, it gives them an even playing field. A lot of people, you know, sentimentally, I feel have, you know, just made it about the 1965 Civil Rights Bill being revoked. And I just brought up the fact that I said on Facebook, the way people are still, you know, that was 60 years ago now, 1965. We in 2025 now, 60 years, right? The way people have still been marching and crying and, you know what I'm saying, all of this shit, right? It's almost as if it never happened in the first place. You get what I'm saying? And if we allow like the stroke of a pen to dictate, you know, how free we are as far as we've come, you know what I'm saying? Like, or how low on the totem pole we feel, that we need to question this like freedom, you know, that we've been celebrating for the last 60 years. Cause that don't sound like freedom to me. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think about that on the comments or whatever. I know, you know, this is kind of a crazy one. Everybody got their theory, you know, what they think is gonna happen. What I definitely gathered by a lot of what I've been seeing online is you got a lot of like fear peddling, you know, trying to get everybody riled up, you know what I'm saying, and afraid and all this shit. But I don't know, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just, you gotta wait and see. You know what I mean? Like, do I think that we're gonna go back to, you know, segregated buses and having to sit in the back and, you know, whites only like water fountains? Nah, again, I don't. You know what I mean? I've seen people also speak about you know, Costco's and other companies, you know what I mean, like ending their DEI programs and all this. And I mean, you know, and they're saying like, oh, like, you know, they're racist and all this other stuff. And Al Sharpton was out there, you know, like saying that we should you know, we should boycott other companies, but like, you know, stand with Costco because Costco didn't get rid of their DEI program. They kept but I don't at this point, bro, like at this point in time, like when it comes to black excellence, I don't even think we need the DEI program. Like, we the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of the best products on the market are made by you know, people who look like us. So, you know, to me, like, I just feel like if it's more merit based, then maybe, you know, when everybody was complaining about people from other countries being able to come here and get these business loans and all of that, like, you don't think that's a part of DEI? Now, if, you know, those loans that start getting allocated to, you know, actual citizens, which Trump seems to be all about keeping the money in America, you know, don't you think that'd be better? You know what I mean? Like for, you know, for businesses and all that shit, for small businesses. And don't we represent a majority of small businesses? So it might be the opportunity to grow from a small business to a big corporation. Like, you know what I mean? So, you know, you got to see, man, because at the end of the day, the laws that get passed are the laws of everybody. You get what I'm saying? So there are other laws that protect us as equals, you know what I mean, to where even that bullshit that y'all think is going to happen can't necessarily just go down like that. You know what I mean? And we damn sure shouldn't allow it. Like before that happens, or we really start seeing that happen in the world, then, hey man, January 6th. I'm just saying, it happens every year. You know what I mean? But anyway, in our next story, we got some sad news. Wayne Shaw, 61 years old, brother of rapper Too Short, you know what I'm saying, was gunned down and killed in a robbery, you know, or attempted robbery of a building in East Oakland. Gonna run this clip, and you know, y'all know what we're gonna do after.
Our top story tonight, the killing of the brother of rapper Too Short. Someone shot and killed him during checking the story all day. She's got details about what happened.
OPD received several calls at around 0700 hours of a shot spotter activation and several 911 calls.
Tonight, OPD investigators are combing over evidence and searching for the people responsible for shooting and killing a man in an attempted robbery turned deadly. Investigators say around 7 this morning, multiple suspects tried to ram a car into an industrial building on 49th Avenue near East 12th Street.
The suspects arrived to the location. They attempted to force their way into the property. While they were attempting their way in, the victim stepped out, was confronted by the suspects, and the suspects fired several rounds at the victim.
The victim is rapper Too Short's older brother. Police confirmed his identity as 61-year-old Wayne Shaw. Police say Shaw was shot multiple times and transported to a nearby hospital where he died. Investigators do not know if he was targeted or if the robbery was random. Too Short grew up in Oakland and is known as a pioneer of West Coast hip hop. He began his recording career in the 80s. The city named a street after him in East Oakland back in 2022. Too Short has not publicly said anything about his brother's death. Police say the suspects got away in an unknown vehicle. Investigators are looking into the building that was targeted and Shaw's connection to the property. In Oakland, Valina Jones, NBC Bay Area News.
Ah, man. Well, R.I.P. Wayne Shaw. Condolences to Too Short and his whole family. Damn shame, man. You know, of all the people or whatever, like, you know, especially just for it to happen in Oakland, you know, Too Short has done a lot, you know what I mean, for the, you know, for the community where he's from, you know, like they said, they named the street after him. Ain't too much to really say, man. It's crazy out here. You know, people out here broke, hurting, you know what I mean, and just desperate. You know, you got a drug epidemic. You know, it being magnified, but I don't think like the real social effects are really being, you know, dug into, and what it's making people do, like out of desperation for that next fix. That sounds crazy, bro, that they were trying to like ram a car through a building and rob it and all this other shit. But apparently it seemed like as they were trying to do it, like if they were trying to ram a car into a building, like that caused enough of a commotion where I guess somebody would come and look outside. You know what I mean? And maybe when, you know, he came to see what was going on, you know, you think, I mean, Too Short brother, who knows, he might have been the owner of the building. You know what I'm saying? They might have known that, like, you know, oh shit, Short Dog brother owned this building, or he live here, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? There got to be some bread over there. Because I'm pretty sure he ain't living, like, you know, in the gutter or some shit. So, I don't know, gang. Like, you know what I mean? That shit is messed up. Seems like, you know, hip hop really going through it. Like, not only the rappers, you know what I mean, like getting killed, but they family members. I mean, I just seen something where Project Pat lost his son. You know what I mean? Patrick Houston Jr., I believe, or the third, one of them. But like, he got Project Pat name. So, you know, rest in peace to him, and condolences to Project Pat, his whole family, Juicy J, all them guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man. And this is why, you know, I always say what I say, man. Stay dangerous so you can be safe. You know what I mean? Hit that like and subscribe button. Smash that notification bell if you're really mobbing with the content. And yeah, again, stay dangerous so you can be safe. It's your boy Daylight, Daylight TV. Back with some news you could use or not. Let me know in the comments, man. I'm out.